Hello, everyone. This is Chala Dinkoy, CEO and founder of The Repositioning Expert. Welcome to another Tuesday Tea Time with Chala. It is a hot summer day. I'm still drinking my protein hot chocolate. Let's take a sip. Just refreshed it. So good. All right. So, what are we talking about? One of the biggest questions that I get in executive roundtables that I host around North America, mostly around the US, is and notably I talk to a lot of minority businesses, so women owned, uh, people who are certified through minority councils. I'll be doing a speech at the LGBTQ conference. So these are minority businesses, so by percentage and by statistics they are smaller, so they're in the couple of million, if they've gotten to that. So my focus that I usually talk to are the 1 to 5 million clients and the CEOs, and their number one complaint is, how do we compete with the larger competitors? And then how do we get taken seriously and not get the rejection from these large corporations because of our size? And so I put a lot of thought to this. I myself, I'm a solopreneur. I run my business with the help of a team, but they're mostly, working for themselves, so they're contractors. But yet, I still am sponsored by corporations. I'm still hired by large companies, and so I do this. I employ this myself, and I teach this as well. And I also know that when I used to work for Pepsi, Pizza Hut, Frito Lay, and I used to hire companies and vendors, I also hired companies that were smaller, but there was a reason why I hired them over and above the existing giant corporate contracts that we had that were partnerships. And the reason for that is because of everything that I'm going to tell you. So, number one thing that I always teach, what is it? Is to super niche, meaning you pick one specific industry to be an expert in, and then you become a very, very specialized expert in one very expensive and very painful and costly pain point that that industry has. So then you become the go-to person for that very specific niche. And I have seen this succeed in my clients, my own business. There is no such thing as competition when you're super niched. And when you're super niched and all of your marketing and your content, which, if you do your marketing right and if you have a solid plan, is a lot, and it is constantly in front of that one industry decision maker and their peers, you are then seen as an expert, and an expert in only that one side of the coin, that one facet of the diamond. That to me is the number one way to cut through all the competition. It's the way to cut through size issues. It's the way to cut through diversity issues, ageism, sexism, you name it. Any kind of bias that you think you're facing in business and in the marketplace will never be an issue if you become a very well-known go-to expert in a very specific and expensive and common pain point. I cannot emphasize this enough. Every single thing I teach is about super niching. So that's job number one. Now, if you super niche and you don't talk about it, obviously your content has to speak to it online and offline. And we'll get to the visibility portion of how you make yourself look bigger to large corporations and corporate prospects. Number one is super niche. Number two is the quality of your marketing materials, including your brand logo, your tagline, and your website. You need to spend the big bucks in your collateral and your marketing to be able to look good, to be able to look bigger. I have had much bigger companies come to me with the complaint that they've been overlooked and bypassed by actual references, like people who referred to them and who were actually advised to work with them. But when people looked at their websites and their marketing collateral that existed online and offline, they were scared because large corporations want to work with large corporations. So if your marketing, starting with your brand design, your logo, potentially your tagline, and your website makes you look too junior, that's going to be a huge red flag for them. So please invest in those things. That's the lipstick on the pig, right? Not calling you a pig, but those are the first things that people see. It's just like the first thing in marketing is what people look at the packaging, and then they open the package. So we want you to look expensive and bigger than you are by virtue of those packaging things around the outside of your marketing and your company. Number 3 is I need you to go in and dare to compete with the bigger competitors in the same arenas that they do, such as procurement conferences. I need you to be in the same rooms where they're on the same stages. Maybe they're speaking. I need you to be in the same room, hopefully on even the same stage if they're in a panel, these buyers and these prospects. I need you to participate in pitch competitions. I need you to write RFPs and compete in every aspect and dare to compete in every aspect that large corporations do. So you need to, what is it? Wayne Gretzky says, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. You miss 100% of the shots you don't take if you're not in front of the buyer. And these are the places that they're actually actively seeking for connections with vendors. So you need to be in those spaces and places and find out where they go. So that's the beauty of super niching, is if you find out where an industry gathers, what their pain points are, and who their networks are, you are becoming part of that network. And then it's much easier for you to connect with, get networked with, and to sell to them. Okay. Next is, okay, so you're small, you don't want to look small, but you have something, right? Make, like my favorite coach, one of my favorite coaches, Suzanne Evans, says, make your mess your message. So you have flexibility and agility. So I want you to leverage your flexibility and your agility. How do you do that? I want you to put it into actual, it could be programs. It could be, you could even trademark certain things that you can do that they can't do. You can build in capabilities that is beyond reach in terms of cost and timelines from the big guys, and you make it your message. So the fact that you can be flexible and agile, I mean, I've worked for giant corporations and I've worked for small ones. And I can tell you how long it took to do things at large corporations, especially ones that were like super cumbersome with legal departments and oversight and PR departments. It was so long to get anything done in those kinds of environments. And so you enjoy the opposite of that. And so you should use it. Okay. Make your mess your message. All right. Next is use tech. I can't tell you how impressive tech is. I was one of the first people to use an UVO card, which is a tap card. I mean, this, like right now, that's what everybody does, and it's on its way out, and most people hate it. They're now back to like paper cards, right? But I was at the apex of technology when it even first started. Everybody was asking me what it was. When I first, I mean, this was the first time I used it was right after the pandemic. And at that time, even when just people were just getting back into it in person, and I put my whole digital life and resume on there. I put my 20 TV appearances on there. I put my books on there. Like one tap could give you access to my entire marketing know-how and, my platforms. So, and it allowed you to book a call with me right away. It allowed you to see all my success and all my wisdom, just one tap of a card. And at that point, not a lot of people had that. Now, like even they have LinkedIn barcodes and QR codes and everything. So, and I remember the days where you could tap your phone, and LinkedIn had a tap function where you could tap your phone and the LinkedIn would, you would link into each other, which was so cool. So I don't know if that exists anymore, but it actually used to make a sound. So that used to be really cool. So use technology. Now, you don't have to use technology in just the aspects of what I'm talking about. You should definitely use it in your marketing. So your digital marketing, you should definitely not look clunky. It should be consistent. It should be, mapped out. It should be calendarized, and it should be automated. Same with your CRM. Use AI for your, data analytics of whoever's calling you. So don't stop innovating. So, technology doesn't stop. Like what I just told you, the Uvo card, which is the tap card, was like 4 years ago. So don't stop innovating. Look at what's next. How can you, in both your marketing and in your area of expertise, continue to innovate? And, I realize that you don't have the millions and millions that these larger companies and corporations do, and the actual departments and the head count and the staff to look after new innovations and chase after them. But you as a CEO have to be constantly innovating in your head in every way. And that's going to make you pop out and look much bigger than you actually are. And number 6 is be visible. There's a saying that the consultant that gets the job is the one that's in front of you. So it's such a truism, because I've built my brand through stage presence, through executive roundtables, which is I'm still continuing in the hot heat of summer to go to all these cities in the US to continue to do that. And it's growing my business, it's growing my presence, it's growing my network, but it's visibility. When people don't know you, but they see you somewhere because they're either networking, or they run into your marketing, or they listen to you on a podcast, or they see your digital media or your social media, or they see you on a stage somewhere, anywhere, on a panel, you gain visibility. One of the things that I'm doing is I'm now pitching, because I'll be visiting Portland as a market in the next couple of weeks, in the next 3 weeks. So I'm now trying to get visibility on their TV. That is going to launch me into being able to get more visibility in that market through doing incremental speaking, and it's going to give me a platform to be able to invite CEOs of $3 to $5 million to come in and have a like a executive roundtable with me. So we're gathering 15 people in the Portland area, August the 14th. If you're in the Portland area, please let me know. And if you're a CEO that has between 3 to 5 million in revenue and you're B2B facing corporations, you're invited to apply, at least, and we'll have a conversation. So that's it for me. How to look bigger to corporate prospects is super important, because if you're in my target group, which are minorities, you're trying to grow just like everybody else, and you're trying to pitch to corporations, which is why you got your minority certificate, so that you can attend these huge procurement conferences where you're paired with them, you're match made with them, or you pitch to them, or you're at a roundtable with them. So do those things and you will be looked at differently, and you'll be considered, and you'll definitely be able to compete with the big guys. I will see you next week. All the best.